Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. Gives me great pleasure to welcome everybody to our Sunday afternoon stream and to introduce to you somebody that I've been watching on YouTube. Welcome, DaRealNordicBlack. Should we call you? What should we call you?
You can call me Robert, Rob, DaRealNordicBlack. It doesn't matter. My name is Robert, so yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. You know, you can go to any country in the world and you'll find some atheists there. you don't even look far.
Absolutely.
Very nice. Very nice to meet you.
And I apologize to you and your audience for having to watch me through my phone because I don't know what happened on my laptop. It's not functioning very well. So this is the first time. Hey, how's it going? Bolelang, Rockespille, something like that.
Yeah.
I probably butchered the name, but anyway, hi to you and hi to your audience and everything. But I want to apologize to everybody about the glitch and I don't know what the hell happened. We couldn't get any audio and all that. So this is actually the first time I'm doing. I'm online with being interviewed by using my phone. So hopefully,
it's all good. You know, these things happen. We always try to plan ahead, but at number 99, there's always, like I said to you before we go live, the day that I run a stream without a glitch is the day when I turn to Jesus.
Right.
So exactly. Let's jump into it. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Robert. Did you grow up in a religion? Were you, was that part of your background? Because I was raised in a religion, and I think most people are. It's very seldom that you find people who are atheists from cradle.
Absolutely, yeah. So I absolutely grew up in Christianity, in a religion, Christianity. My mother, she grew up Catholic because both of her parents are from New Orleans. So there's a high concentration of Catholics, Black Catholics, especially. Louisiana is the highest concentrated state of Black Catholics in America. You have Louisiana, then like Maryland, Texas, Georgia, New York, but Louisiana still has the most. So because of the French influences, Spanish influence, and stuff like that. My grandfather actually went to all Black Catholic school, and his family was all Catholic, and he was raised Catholic, and so we raised my mother Catholic.
What is the percentage like Catholic versus Protestant Christianity in America? As I understand it, the Catholics there's certain regions where they're more prevalent, but it's majority Protestant. Yeah.
No, like I said, absolutely. I don't know as a whole. I don't have all the statistics in front of me, but they do put them out there. They have them out there. But as far as Black Catholics are concerned, I know the majority of them are in the states of Louisiana, and then you have like Maryland, Illinois as well, but mostly Louisiana, Maryland, Georgia, Texas, stuff like that, New York. But you have it, spread out in different areas. So my mother was raised Catholic, and she pretty much left that church. She ended up on her own when she became an adult, had me and my brother, and got married and all that. And as she grew in her faith or whatever, she ended up becoming non-denominational Christian. You heard of that with T.D. Jakes. Yeah, stuff like that. The Potter's House. That. Which she's going through some troubles right now, but anyway. She grew up with that. They still had that Pentecostal, charismatic, ness in the non-denominational, but they're kind of more diverse in certain ways too. And but they don't adhere to they're not like the Methodists and Lutherans and Baptists and
now that I'm sorry to interrupt you, but now that you mention it, it always struck me as very odd that the truth had different versions of itself.
There you go. And that's part of my deconversion story, mama. And those are part of my questions. And that's part of, the questions as I was a child, growing up, being a skeptic, I had questions, as a kid, I was wondering why this and why that, and asking my mother, and then
they don't have questions.
Right, they don't. And asking my mother, and she couldn't come up with a good answer, so she ended up referring me to the minister or pastor, and then got to the point that he couldn't really answer me very well, and it was to the point he was just like, just believe, you know what I mean? So and so it was about me seeking answers on my own, best I could, and that started my journey basically. And I grew up in a military brat, we call it. My father was in the Army. My grandfather, he also was in the Army, military. That's how we ended up in Oklahoma. So like I said, my mother, both of her parents are from New Orleans. Where they're both Catholic. My father, he was born in Mobile, Alabama, and his mother is from Alabama, but his father is from Guyana. And so he wasn't raised in so much of a strict Christian household, but they were Christian. You have to put a faith on it. But my mother's side of the family are the ones that were more, because my grandfather, he was very strict. Goes, to Catholic church every Sunday and confessional and all kinds of stuff. And he gave almost every one of his kids and grandkids the rosary and things like that. And later he wanted me and my brother to become priests. I don't know. When I look back at it right now, I'm like, I don't know what the hell he was thinking, but far from it. But anyway, so he always wanted us to get in good with the pastor or things like that. But I had so many questions, not only just faith-wise, but also racial-wise too. I was looking, because in Oklahoma there wasn't that many Black Catholics. See,
right.
So in Louisiana there are, and in Maryland and other places, but in Oklahoma, the big red state, they don't have that as many Black Catholics. And so I was looking around in the church, and I didn't hardly see anybody that represented me and things like that. So I had a little bit questions of that as well. But like I said, and I was going back and forth because growing up, I spent the summers with my grandfather in Oklahoma. He ran a business. He ran a business in Oklahoma, and so it was a good thing for my mom to send us out there instead of getting in trouble or doing whatever. Spend the summers with him, and he took us to
idle hands busy.
Yeah, exactly. And through that, of course, he had us going to mass on Sundays and stuff like that, and then eventually he had us going to catechism and getting our confirmation and things like that. But every time I went back home, my mother took us to church as well in the non-denominational church, so I was even in the church choir. Also, I believe my mother kind of wanted me to get a little bit into youth ministry in a way. And also I remember going to summer Christian camps sometimes. And so it was back and forth, and my mother was like, my grandfather was like, whatever your mom is doing, that's not correct. You know what I mean? You have to,
It's like if you want to know what's wrong with Christianity, ask another Christian.
Exactly. And that's what was going on. That's what was going on. It was like, and then when I went home and I said, well, Grandpa said that this is not the correct thing and all that. You know, Catholic means universal, and blah, blah, blah. He gave us that whole spiel, and you know, and he's talking about you can't just pray away your sins. You have to take, you know, you have to have the sacraments and stuff like that. You have to go through confirmation and do your penance correctly and stuff like that. But then I asked him about purgatory. Yeah. Then I asked him about purgatory and immaculate conception and all these things. And so we just had a lot of conversations. And he used to break open his Bible and to his best of his ability explain. He actually explained it better than what I got at her church. And yeah, with the ministers and pastors there. But I can say that my mother, as she grew in her faith or whatever, she started to study the Bible a bit more, and get into the text and read it a lot more. And, you know, so I'm just seeing something. I just scroll. Hey, well, I appreciate you. Much love.
Yeah,
much love.
I really liked your. I mean, I watched the interview that you did with Cynthia. It's amazing individual.
You know her longer than me, probably. You know what I mean? So, absolutely. Yeah.
I just love the. She has such a fire in her, you know, and it's
definitely.
It's infectious, yeah.
And we need more. We need more of that. You know, we need more of that. I say, absolutely.
The motivation as well for our channel is because we keep on, you know, I mean, I was born in Africa. I'm not of African descent, but I consider myself an African, you know, because I've lived in this continent. I don't know anywhere else, you know. So
I hear you.
The big criticism that we got from our local community is that all atheists are old white men, you know, like there's no representation of people who look like us, who don't believe. You know, all we get is atheism from all these intellectuals and all that. And I said, that's not possible. It can't be true. You know, there has to be people who say, like, wait a minute, this Kool-Aid tastes like camel piss. You know, like, what's going on here?
You know, that's very interesting that you say that about how you know your experience is there. That's pretty interesting that some of the people say that.
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah.
Very strange. It's very strange, you know. And we also have this this movement where people will in their daily lives they will rebel against, like, oh, that's Western stuff, you know, like we want to return to our African roots, and then Sunday they hallelujah. Yep.
It's and not only that, you see it in, you know, even in America, you have I forgot the name of this guy, Ray Hagen, for example. You got a guy that came out of, I'm sure you heard of him, who came out of church or whatever, but then he starts this thing that's so similar to church. You know what I mean? That's, you know, if you didn't know, you know, whatever words he was talking about, you would assume just by looks that it was you know, it was church, and he simulates the church with the pulpit and everything, but they're claiming that they're, you know, atheists. So you got some of that as well. And but yeah, I noticed.
I guess it cuts both ways, you know. So
yeah, for sure. But yeah, so being raised is yeah, like I said, I was deep into the church thing or whatever, and then I end up you know, graduated high school, joining the United States Air Force. I joined the military, but the Air Force branch. My father and my grandparents, they were in the Army. So I did travel around a bit by being a child of a military Army soldier, and I ended up joining the Air Force. When I left Oklahoma, then I was stationed in California, in the Bay Area, and then after that, I was stationed in Okinawa, Japan. But through my travels and through my military service or whatever, I ran into other people with other faiths. And that's when I ran into a Muslim, a Sunni Muslim, Orthodox Muslim. Not one of the black Muslims from like Farrakhan and back home. And by the way, for the people who don't know, I am African American, obviously, but I live in Oslo, Norway. So yeah. So go figure. In that, I didn't know that we have the same time zone. So that was my ignorance when I was asking about the time, and I didn't know that. So I learned something new that we're on the same time as in South Africa. Cool. But anyway, so yeah, so I ran into let's see, people who discriminately return to their roots without questioning it will end up being in the situation they are moving away from. Wow, that's what's up. I hear you, sis. Yeah, and I ran into a guy, and it was more because of his character, more than just him proselytizing to me, because he didn't. I ran into this guy when I was going through it, away from home, and I'm had some family issues during that period, and I was away from home and stuff like that, young adult, and trying to find myself and all these things. And I ran into a guy at the mess hall, the chow hall, the cafeteria, and I knew. I ended up talking to this guy because I noticed him every now and then when I went to the chow hall. I saw him sitting by himself, but he still had some confidence about himself. Like, and he was around my age, young. We were like 18, 19, 20. And I remember I was sitting in a table not too far from him. I just went up to him and start chatting with him and things like that. And I asked him where he was from. It was almost like I wanted to be like, yo, what planet are you from? I really want to be like, what planet are you from, bro? Because you different, man. You walking around, you're not that large in stature, but you walking around with this confidence in that something, that I noticed. And so, like I said, that struck not confrontation, but a conversation with Muhammad Siddiqui is his name, man. If you watch him from somewhere, I don't know where, I haven't spoke to this guy in forever, lost touch with him, but he was the guy that I ran into, and I started to, through his humility and just conversation, I started to look into Islam and things like that. And then, with that being said, I started to question my faith, things like that. Although I wasn't, I didn't go to church every Sunday and things like that, but I still consider myself a Christian at the time. But I started to question, and then he had me, which is a tie to South Africa, had me looking at some tapes from Ahmed Deedat from Durban, the Muslim apologist. Yeah. So that would got me into some of the critical thinking and debate scene and apologetics and things like that. And so when he started to, of course, he showed me the debate about him and the big preacher, back in the day. Jimmy. Oh, I forget his name. It was on the tip of my tongue too. But he had big debates with big TV preacher personalities, and different scholars out there. And so I was like, wow. And so I kind of did my own little research on what I could, and I ended up, that's when the pressure kind of was on. I probably would have took more time if I wouldn't have had a bunch of, it was kind of more the brotherhood that was around me that got me into it, because there were some very helpful brothers out there in California, and it was a beautiful thing. Yeah, but like I said, this was during my growth, and I started to learn more things. Now this wasn't and I'm still growing every day. You know what I mean? So we all are. So.
But it's funny that you mentioned this idea. It's like the second I went through the exact same process. I was the second I realized, hey, wait a minute, like there's something wrong with this whole Christianity thing. It just doesn't cut it for me. I started looking for another religion, and I was like, there's got to be something else that's that's a little bit better and a little bit more palatable than
Right, right.
All this nonsense. It never occurred to me to ask that question. They can't all be true, but they can all be false. It never occurred to me to ask that question. It's only down the line where that happened. Yeah.
Right, and because everybody's claiming the truth, and so you and I'm trying to sit there and see, okay, what do they have that they have? What's going on? Okay, and so they're trying to do their best to make it make sense, and I'm listening to the apologists because that's their job to do that. Good morning, James, in the building. I recognize that face. I think that's the guy on the big the atheist the Austin network, I think, out there or something, right? Or something like that.
I'm not.
I forget, but anyway, I think I've seen his face around. But absolutely. So where was I at? Yeah. So being out there, I ended up taking the Shahada. I ended up declaring that that there's no other God but Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger and the last of the prophets and all those things like that. And
you're officially of the kuffar now.
And because I remember when later on when I end up dropping religion altogether, and that's when I started to see the anger. Because when I was leaving it, that was a difference than when I was in Christianity in a way. And I noticed that there was a different type of energy that was bestowed upon me after declaring that I wasn't. And I was told that you're always a Muslim. Once you're a Muslim, it ain't no converting to nowhere else. You know what I mean? Ain't no backsliding. You always a Muslim. Once you're a Muslim, you always a Muslim. And then how they say you didn't everything else you convert, but with Islam you revert to the original, and things like that. So as I'm sure you dabbled in Islam as well, and things like that. So
fortunately not. That was the one that I didn't. It just didn't appeal to me from the word go.
Well, there was several reasons why it probably appealed to me, because there was, like I said, that guy, that character, and also when I was a kid, my father took me to the movie by Spike Lee, Malcolm X.
Right.
And so when I start to realize what was what and the differences between certain things and his, even Malcolm X's journey, and if he was alive to this day, we don't know if he would have shedded all religions at the end. We don't know that. But what I did respect definitely about Malcolm X was that I feel like he was a seeker of truth. And things like that compared to other figures out there. But anyway, so there were kind of like little nuggets that, but and then the fact that it was different, I saw a beauty in it. It was because it was different, something that I wasn't used to, and things like that. But still, ultimately, they were answers that couldn't be. There were questions that couldn't be answered the same way, and the same ridiculousness, and the same, that it couldn't be answered. And so I was like, you know what? I'm shutting this whole damn thing. I'm shutting this down altogether. I remember even visiting like a Buddhist thing, and I visited some Unitarian.
Me too.
Hey, I remember reading this passage, and I don't remember if it was Bernard Shaw or I don't know who it was, but I remember this person was saying that how they changed their religion, like they changed their underwear, their clothes, or whatever. They changed it so much, and I felt that because that was me, man. I was just, the seeker of truth, and in a way, I'm always the seeker of truth.
When you said those words, it was about to come out of my mouth. It's we as atheists, people who don't believe, are obsessed with finding the truth.
Bingo.
I really want to know what is true, and in my opinion, truth is something that you can show. You can demonstrate something to be true.
There you go.
You don't have to believe that something's true. You can
Right.
know that it's true through
Right.
demonstration.
And we usually don't have a problem to shift our gears if that's, you know, if science shows us that this is, you know, then okay, I ain't got no problem with it. But there's a lot of them that are heavy on that belief gonna have problems with it. You know what I'm saying? Once they're shown otherwise. Hey guys, Robin Jackson in the building. What's up? What's up? But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no. I was gonna, you know, just that moment where somebody realizes I've been duped. You know, I wish that every single person somewhere in their life can have their foundation shook like that. You know, because it forces you to start from scratch and just to reevaluate everything from the word go. So
and it's really tough for people with those familial ties, the, you know, cultural, you know, it's really tough. You know, I mean, it's I think it was tougher back. I think it was tougher back in the day than it is now, though. I can tell you, where you have all this easy access of information, although there's misinformation. But we've
started creating communities around atheism where a couple of decades ago that wasn't there. You know, so religion does two things very well: is it keeps you busy and it gives you a sense of community. So those are the two things that it does very well. And the second, where you take away that you know, people say to yourself, like, where am I going to go to for my community? You know, I go to the bake sales and we have our prayer group on Wednesdays, and then
there you go.
You know, I can just call on somebody if I need something, you know, and if I leave the church, that's all going to fall away, and people feel threatened by that, you know. But the second thing,
I'm glad you said that, because a lot of times when I go on these atheist platforms, you know, it's funny. There's some people that don't even know that I'm on some of these atheist platforms, and then some people that are on the atheist platforms don't know that I'm like on Facebook and kind of into this kind of a little bit more into social activism with racism and things like that. Until somebody pays attention, you know, they're like, oh, okay, he's about this and that. But it's funny you said that, because in a lot of atheist platforms, when I see people of color or black people in particular talk about religion, as I noticed in the kind of online mainstream crowds, I've hardly was able to hear some of them speak in, you know, because it's very complex when it comes to religion. You know, it's not just a straight shooter, I believe, especially when it comes to black people is concerned. Because yes, it had done a lot of damage. I think in the long run, it's done more damage than good. But to say that, you know, when you have these figures like Martin Luther King and you know, and before him and things like that, or like you said, these communal spaces where they were able to get together, you know, during slavery times, to tell, listen, in slavery times, proclaiming I'm an atheist and I ain't going to church, you got to be crazy. I'm going to church. If I was in, and I know what you know what I mean. If Master is giving me the Sunday to chill out in praise and worship, I'm gonna be there. Let's keep it real. And that's the problem. That's why I call myself the real Nordic Black, because a lot of people just out there just shooting these talking points that they think that these other mainstream atheists or you know, make them feel good so I can put them on some of these other platforms and all these things like that. But I'm like, that ain't the full truth, man. You know that. Let's keep it 1,000. Let's you know. But I do love the work of like what's the guy? Cameron and other people that have written a book about skeptics and talking about how, you know, there was skepticism and secularism within the black community for a long time, and pointing these things out, and other writers that are starting to point things out, you know, pretty much everywhere. I mean, people are re-looking at history and pointing correcting certain things and pointing out some other new facts and things like that. So I love it. I love the information. You know, we love being atheists. We love the truth. We love information, and not scared to admit when we're wrong. You know what I'm saying? So That's what I mainly noticed. There are a few like that are into religion that are like that for sure. Absolutely. You have your some of these scholars like Daniel McClellan and other people out there that still hold on to their religion and things like that are, you know, critical scholars and things like that. So, you know, it's everywhere, man. But yeah, like I said, you pointed that out. When it comes to religion, the complexities in it. That yes, it's very hard for them to leave those things, and because, you know, in certain periods of time, those were the places where I mean, if it wasn't effective, why would Biden still go there? Why would so see, you see what I'm saying? So, but it's funny because I believe when I came in on the scene, that's when people start to admit certain things and start to shift and admit certain things. That's all I'm gonna say. You know, if you know, you don't have to believe me. You just take timelines and all that. But when I started to talk about these things, you know, and then you start to see faces like Karakuni, Egyptologists around some mainstream spaces. Take the timelines. That's all.
But this is the thing. Is my hunch is that the internet killed religion. You know, it's access to information that you can glean by yourself, as opposed to information that is curated, fed to you.
True.
You know, that is the thing that is, I think, going to be the
accessibility of information. Absolutely, was killing religion. Absolutely. Although there can be little pitfalls in that, misinformation, and some people go far out their way to do that. But I believe what you just said far outweighs definitely the accessibility of information is what's killing religion. That's what it is.
I think there are always going to be bad actors in the mix somewhere, you know.
Always.
So I think the internet is just a tool, and if people have bad intent, they can use a tool to you know, magnify and spread their reach.
Right.
And I mean, you guys saw it with these misinformation campaigns with Russian influences in your elections and all of that.
Yeah. I mean, the internet started out. The internet started out with the military using it at first, in the beginning, anyway. So before they allowed the public to use it. So I ain't shocked by all that. You know what I mean? For sure, absolutely. They're doing it all, you know, as we speak. Absolutely.
So what was the straw that broke the camel's back for you when it came to religion? Was there like can you look at a specific moment where you said, "Fuck this, I'm out," or was it more like a slow process of unpacking this?
You know, it was a process, but ultimately, like I told you, when I tried on the clothes of Islam, and I ultimately, you know, realized when I looked through that book, you know, looking into the, you know, Judaism, their book, and all these things like that, and I start to, you know, hear, you know, secularists and scientists and things, and start to use my own common sense, you know what I mean, and start to look at material outside of that book, you know what I mean, and it's just like, you know, the meme where you know, when you look into the Bible to look for answers in the Bible, it has that the plug into the extension. it plugs it in within itself, an extension cord. It's like its own echo, you know, your own echo chamber or whatever. It's like, okay. So I was like, I need to look at these.
It says right here in the book that the book is true.
There you go. And so I said, I need to, since I love history, which my 5th grade world history teacher got me into loving that, because he knew how to embellish these stories and things like that, you know. So, you know, I was like, why am I, you know, let me look into this historically. Let me start to look into some real material. That's what I started to, as I started to grow and things like that. And you know, certain sources weren't there. Certain evidences weren't there. And you know, and I just started looking at social conditions, and I started to look at to see how, it was a process, but ultimately, I came to the conclusion that a lot of this is man-made and BS and things like that. But yeah, the whole
Swiss cheese, a lot of holes.
Right, a lot. I mean, I remember you know, as a black person, Christian, African American, you know, ask my mother, I'm like, Mom, you always talking about how, you know, Christianity is universal and love. I said, what? Why don't I see no white people in this church? You know what I mean? Like, is it we all going to heaven, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, why, you know? And then when Malcolm X said in the movie, you know, Sunday is the most segregated day of the, you know, on the planet. You know, it's like the most segregated day in America is Sunday. You know, and that's for real. You know, and especially, you know, a decade or two back. You know, on Sundays. I mean, they're going into their little, you know, space here, there. Then you think about, you know, you go into history, you think about slavery, and you think about passages that endorse slavery, endorse chattel slavery in the Bible. But you also think about just, you know, in real time, looking at, you know, if all is love and all is well, then why, you know, why can't we just, you know, combine and all that? Something ain't right, you know. And then look, you know, just studying more about antebellum South and slavery and things like that, and you're like, well, there, you know, God is, you know, we're all brothers and sisters and all that in Christ and all that. Then why the hell you got us, you know, on a sugar and you know, and cotton plantation doing, you know? So it was all a farce, man. So, you know, I had to but yeah, the brainwashing is real, man. It's something else to this very day, you know. And I have to admit that, you know, that it takes its toll on a person, and yeah, I get those biases every now and then, and it you know, we were traumatized, you know, basically. We were traumatized. San Bonani, what is that?
It's a greeting.
Oh, okay. From what country?
It's the South African language, isiZulu.
Oh, that's what's up.
It translates to "we see you," Sanibonani.
Oh, okay, that's what's up. We see you too. I see you. I appreciate that. Gregory, and Gregory is the name of my brother. So my brother name is Gregory. So big ups, man.
So you know what typically happens is when we realize we were fooled, when we come out on the other side, we're very, very angry.
Yeah,
I was fuming when I realized that I've
been hoodwinked. I've been bamboozled, man. Led astray, for sure.
So what happens then is that a lot of people turn to activism. Some people just let it slide and go like, oh fuck, I was so stupid. And other people are in the mindset of like, I want to stop other people from making this mistake, or I want to shake other people and show them, like, take a deeper look at this.
Right.
Are you involved in any activism? Because I see you having these conversations on your YouTube channel, and
you know, not as much as
for you?
Yeah, not as much as I would like to be, and that I should. I think we never, you know, a true activist, a true person that's, you know, living for the cause, or will feel like that. But definitely, I went to some marches representing some. I mean, you know, for some marginalized people out here, and things like that. Or I go online and I'll get in some little bit of platforms every now and then. But you know, ultimately, I kind of do, you know, and as life, you know, issues and problems come about, and I have to deal with that. But I in my own way, I do my own activism, I believe. I try to drop certain nuggets about certain things when it comes to our history.
At the end of the day, I think just being a voice and being visible in this space is a form of activism. You know, it's you know, we always have this idea in our heads when we hear the word activist. You picture someone being chained to a bulldozer, trying to save the whales. You know, it's
like you know, standing in front of a tank and shit. You know.
It's being a voice, you know, being a voice and being the opposition, and just saying, like hell no, this isn't going to go any further than here, you know. And sometimes just stopping that generational
right.
abuse from propagating. You know, that's also, in my opinion, a form of activism. You know, because it's a generational thing.
Absolutely.
This
Absolutely. And what I find that is, when it comes to that, what I find is more helpful and useful, especially for the people like me and you, or that are online a bit, disseminating information to people. I found out that what is more useful is to try to, best you know how, speak or show the truth, credible information, because you don't want to be one of the ones that are giving out a bunch of misinformation and things like that, because you can kind of reverse, you'll be like, see, this is why I'm into religion, because these people are, they're one and the same. They're just like these zealots, they're over here saying something totally opposite, but the fact that, the zeitgeist, they're saying all these other things that are way out there, you know what I mean? So so I think people that are really true seekers have and that are posting and sending out information about things has a kind of responsibility, and should be doing things, or referring to the experts, you know what I'm saying, just admitting that you don't really kind of know, and try to so that's what I guess try to do. I try to point in the direction of the scholars that I believe that are, reputable, critical scholars, or the people that are putting out information, or groups like yours, and things. If somebody was in South Africa, I point them to your group or whatever, or in London, I pointed to Afro Atheist. We forgot to mention her.
She's an amazing lady, and I've also interviewed her on this channel. She was one of the first people that came onto the channel, and it's strange how we formed a connection. Keep on messaging one another. Hey, did you see that crazy African pastor who did
Yeah, like I've been posting as of late. Them African Christians be doing the most, man. I swear to God.
I'm telling you, there's no mountain high enough.
And I love my African brothers and sisters. You can't blame them. They were,
But
it's not a surprise. It's not a surprise.
The thing is, people are not
heavily
taught critical thinking skills. They're not taught critical thinking skills, and those charlatans in these positions, they just put themselves in a position of power, and then they can see an opportunity where people will be easily fooled, and it's all for the money. The money. It's the only motivation for people to build these mega churches. I would love to actually see a world where people cannot make money from religion, to see if religion will actually persist, because I'm sure it'll evaporate as soon as the cash evaporates from it.
Right. Absolutely. And that's why we got some of those Africans out there like Leo, Igwe, and some other people that you know as well that are trying to engage in these critical thinking workshops and things like that. So I think it's a great thing. I think it's a good thing. I doing my little part, and we'll and try to collaborate with others that are doing their parts, and just
So we always religion sometimes has a good effect on people. It inspires people to do good things and to be better people, but on the other side, it also has a negative impact. It has, in my opinion, the negative impact outweighs the positive impact, but that's just me. But, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about some of the negative impacts that you have experienced from religion. And I mean, for myself, I can just say I was living in constant fear. I was so scared. I was scared that I was going to do something that angers God, or that I'm going to do something sinful by accident and not know about it, and then how do I repent for something that I don't know I did, and then when I get to the pearly gates, there's going to be a long list of shit that I didn't even know I did. You know, it's weird how that. I mean, it's been a while.
That is so very true. The fear kept me. I stayed in constant fear when I was thinking about religion. All those, especially if I did one of those fatal, one of those sins that you cannot come back from. You know what I mean? That somebody mentioned to me and they described in the Bible in some passage or whatever, which probably was misunderstood as well. But you know, at the time, you know, there were certain sins that not even God will supposedly forgive you from or whatever, and the fact that you never know, you're unsure if you made it, if your name was in the book, and things like that. And thinking about the rapture, especially being in America, you know, they had these movies about the rapture and things like that. And you know, I was scared that one day I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna see the lawnmower still going and clothes on the ground and dogs barking without the you know, their handlers around. And you know, so yeah, I had a lot of that fear going on as well. Yeah, absolutely. So that was definitely a negative thing. And also the fact that when you know about accountability, and things like that, and when you talk about morality and things like that, you know, I you know, being ignorant, you know, I didn't believe that, you know, morality, people can have a sense of morality outside of religion and things like that in the beginning. How stupid and ignorant of me and stuff like that. So yeah, thinking it was real dangerous to be outside of religion and things like that, you know.
No, religion teaches you that lie, and you know, the second you travel the planet and you encounter a different society, you realize that morals come from societies. They don't come from come from upstairs. They come from downstairs. Because if you encounter a different society, the morality that you have, for example, in a city like New York, is going to be completely different to the morality that you'll have in a village in Zambia. People in Zambia are going to have a completely different outlook on what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, what you can do, how to treat your children, how to treat your women, what you should believe. That's going to be like chalk and cheese. And when you realize that, as soon as you travel the world and you encounter different cultures, you say to yourself, like, but fuck, how can this be that there's this universal moral code?
There you go.
You know, there you go. Something ain't right.
or exactly. Or when you even see these preachers or these missionaries that get killed, they go to North Sentinel Island, talking about, you know, some Jesus, and the spirit comes right in his throat, you know.
He got some Jesus, all right.
Exactly. You know, and I'm like, nah, they ain't listening to that, bro. Even if religion inspires people to do good things, the irony is that it's probably not the religion that does it. The majority of humans prefer to do good because doing good makes us feel good. Absolutely. I agree with you. Sis. Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. That was a great point.
So what advice would you give to somebody who is at that stage of their life where they're questioning their religion? You know, somebody couple of months, couple of years down the line watches this, you know, like, what advice would you give to somebody who's in that space where they're going, something ain't right?
Most likely, I would say, if you feel something ain't right innately, something ain't right. You know what I mean? But keep on doing your research, start asking people, and start looking up, you know, you have internet age, man. Start going, you're going to see places like yours, Myth Vision, other people, other scholars and things like that. Just start doing your research, start plugging it in, put it in Chat GPT, put it in Google, put it in, you know, you start to talk to people and socialize with people and start to, you know, talk about these things, and until you get the answer that would fully satisfy you, that you believe that is, just keep on questioning. There's nothing wrong with that. You should. I mean, that's the only way, because at the end of the day, you have the one that can comprehend the answers, the knowledge that you seek, and get the confirmation that you need. So you have
truth, to at the end of the day, the truth does not fear scrutiny; it welcomes it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So if whoever is in the position of authority that you're getting your religion from, they shouldn't fear being questioned and being grilled, and ask the questions, ask the uncomfortable questions, ask the hard questions, and let's see if you get answers or if you get tap dancing. If you get tap dancing,
there's a lot of tap dancing around too. Dancing around the tulips, man. A lot of that.
Get tap dancing, something ain't right.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So what was the fallout? What was the fallout zone like? Family and friends. Especially if you have religious people in your family. With me, it's like the brother that we have in prison. Like everybody knows about them, but nobody talks about it.
Yeah. Exactly, man. The fallout, man. It's on my Facebook, where I have most of my followers, and my YouTube, both of those, but mainly Facebook. My family follows me there that are, Christian. Not everyone, but a lot of them. And I'm sure they just kind of tune me out, man, at this point. Mm-hmm. And I used to be nervous. Questions to religion or like a cross to the mythological vampire. Interesting. I just kind of, I'm sure they tune me out, or maybe, not admittably, they're looking into these things, because I'm trying to post about things that I know that they think of in their head, and I know that I'm poking the bear a bit, and I know I'm dropping jewels, because the stuff that I'm dropping, I'm having them be able to look at it, not this, and so it's like, but some of the family just ain't gonna change. That's just what it is, and you have to respect that, and so as long as they respect my position and who I am, and I respect that, and
as long as they still talk to you, then that's a step up. A lot of our members have a report being completely cut off and shunned. Very high control.
I'm not a militant atheist, if you want to call it that. You know what I mean? Like Dawkins or nothing like that. I'm not a polemicist. Like I'm attacking religion, and things like that. Even though I do send pot shots and shit like that every now and then, because it's hilarious, it's funny. I send that to anything, about my own people, my own culture, the most, and about Americans, and about religion, about, so I mean, but, ultimately, I don't try to really beat nobody up that are, especially if it's working for them in a way, if they don't bring out the conversation to me for the most part. Yeah, I'm not going to be like, hey, let's talk about religion today, bro. Like, I'm like, no. So
that's the first week of being an atheist. You're like,
there you go.
Let's talk about religion. Why are you so stupid for believing in God, bro?
Yeah, because you have that zeal. Yeah.
But it fades out, and for me as well, after a couple of years, it's a non-issue. I don't talk about religion unless it's actually brought up. If people present me with religion, then I'm obviously going to talk to them about it, but it's not really something that I care about that much. I only care about it when it has an impact. When people start to legislate based on religion, when things start affecting the policies where I live because somebody is.
There you go. Absolutely. That's when like, hold up, wait a minute. Absolutely. And, you know, and it's all over the. Yeah, unfortunately, it's you know, in the politics, especially like in America, and I'm sure other places too. But it's that Christian fundamentalism is man, it's going rampant, man. It's everywhere. Absolutely.
So, you know, let's more or less start to wrap this up. But I wanted to talk about the positive aspects that I have experienced since leaving religion is agency. You know, like I realized that I have agency within myself, you know, and that I am, you know, I can't blame my shortcomings and my failings on the guy downstairs, and the guy upstairs ain't gonna do shit for me, so I have to like roll up my sleeves. And it actually taught me a lot of responsibility, you know, and I realized as well that I am responsible not only for my own actions, but also in a broader scope for the community around me. So that's the thing that that I cherish, you know, like, and I could never put it in those words, but somebody once, I don't remember who said it, somebody said like, that is the thing that atheism gives me, is agency. I have agency now over my life. And it resonated so much with me. You know, that is one of the prime benefits. Of course, and not feeling guilty and ashamed for for touching yourself inappropriately.
Right. Right.
But I mean, I joke, you know, like, but it's a serious thing. You know, a lot of people discover new things about themselves. People will go and do study, you know, for example, because they were told that, what do you need to study for? Jesus is coming tomorrow.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Like you said, the agency, responsibility, freedom. Yeah. I feel free. Like weight are lifted upon, you know, off of me. So I don't have to, you know, from one religion go into another. I don't have to, I got to join this group then. I have to join this group. You know what I mean? I have a sense of freedom and I don't know, just you know, authenticity.
Those were the big ones for me. You know, I don't feel guilty for being a human anymore. I don't feel ashamed for being a human anymore.
There you go. Yeah. And and learning, and just, you know, I never learned more, really, to be honest, until I shedded religion. You know, that's when I started to learn more about religion when I got out of the religion. And, you know what I mean? The history behind it, you know? Yeah.
And it encourages you to be curious. Because you know that you don't have the answers, where religion tells you, don't ask the questions, here is the answer. And it's completely the other way around.
Right.
It's very weird how that works.
Absolutely. You know, the faith to cover the rest. You know, whatever you don't know, faith to just cover the rest. And that's kind of how it was been. And and so, like you said, the sense of agency that I have.
Here's a question for us from Bolelang. He says, gentlemen, have you ever thought that religious people still think you're a militant atheist by coming to YouTube to talk about atheism?
Oh yeah.
I mean, if you just sneeze in the direction of God, you're a militant atheist, you know. And you
you know, it's funny. I thought of good question, or good point there, because I thought about that a little bit when I went on Truth Wanted the one time that I went on there, and the Truth Wanted show, and with the live call in, and after I got off of there, I was thinking in my head, hold on, what did she say? Being a Jehovah's Witness delayed my going to a university because they kept on telling us that the end is imminent. Wow.
Why do you want to study when Jesus is coming tomorrow?
You know what I mean? That's logical. You know?
I mean, it's practical. You can't blame them for being practical.
But that was, you know, the Christian logic, you know. But yeah, so what was that? I forgot what point I was about to make. But no, militant atheism. No, I thought a little bit. I was like, wow, I wonder if people will. Okay, now if I go on like if I, some people, yeah, they would think people like Matthew Dillahunty and other people that are on there, you know what I mean, or kind of militant. And I thought about myself. Okay, on this one show, whatever. I thought about that there are people that will probably see it that way. But at the end of the day, you just got to be, you got to know your own convictions. You got to be true to yourself and know your intentions behind things. And being an atheist, I kind of and do a lot of more introspection more than anything about, like you said, being human, your own agency about yourself. I learned more about myself outside, because in religion they were trying to tell me why I'm this way and whatever. This ain't really me. This is it's a demon. We need to cast them out of you. You need to get purged and things like that. So you didn't think about your own psychology as much and things like that. So what exactly is militant atheism? You never heard that term? Am I militant when I say what you don't like to hear? No, I agree. I agree with you. I agree with you. I'm trying to remember where I heard somebody coin that term and where I heard it being cast around. That was the reason why I brought it up. But anyhow, I agree with you there. Yeah. But I forget exactly where I've heard that term. I don't know if it was when somebody was trying to describe Richard Dawkins or somewhere.
Yeah, it's very easy.
You look at Google it, Chat GPT, sure it'll pop up. But yeah, it's just like militant meaning extreme. Just like, I guess if you call somebody a fundamentalist or extremist, a Muslim, you said, hey, I want to be called a fundamentalist because I know the fundamentals. I believe in the fundamentals, so I have no problem being called a fundamentalist. But if you're trying to say I'm extremist, then I don't believe it to the middle road, not to be extreme in anything, whether it's and in some sense, it's true. You don't want to be gluttonous. And then you don't want to. Also, you got to make sure that you eat certain things. That you'll die of hunger, starvation, and things like that. There you go. The Real Nordic Black is in the building. That's my channel, guys. So check it out. Yeah, they got. I try to play off of kind of like hip hop, like the real. So and I put all one word, the Real Nordic Black or whatever, and it gets people attention. Even the white supremacist racists out there, they're like, what? Nordic, black, oxymoron. And I'm like, it got you to look and check me out. And let's see if it's so much of oxymoron. Let's look into history. It kind of got them to think that not all of these Vikings and Scandinavians were all blonde hair, blue eye. But anyway.
Look at all the guests you've had on. You've had Hemant Mehta on. You've had friend of our channel, Phil, the Caribbean skeptic on, Dr. Leo Igwe.
Yeah.
You've had the Afro-atheist on as well. She was still the Afro-humanist.
Humanist then, yeah. Yep, and then some scholars and civil rights activists and people, that I couldn't believe that they allowed me to interview them and things like that. Yeah. Mandisa Thomas, yes. Yeah. And the atheist, that's where the atheist thing kind of space started, is after I interviewed her. Before I interviewed her, I remember I was always a part of some. I went online to check out information, and they had this little so-called Black conscious community in America, and so I used to go onto their platforms, and so that's when I learned about certain other scholars, but I took like a lot of the conversations that a lot of Black people that were questioning, like about religion or Egyptology and things like that. And so I just one day and then racism, and one day I just decided to say, won't I just start to interview some of these scholars or these people that have written books about this, so we can ask them what they meant by certain passages in their books. And when I got some responses where I didn't think that they were going to respond to me, that I can interview them. That's kind of how it kind of started in a way like that. And also the fact that pointing out historical figures and things that were of African descent out here in Europe and America, because of the people that, you know, the younger generation that don't know their history or whatever, or feel like they don't have a history, or that they're not tied to anything. Yeah, like even Christianity, how Africa helped shape Christianity as well, in a way. So, into what it is today, how, you know, so, you know, I like to try to tie things into where we can see ourselves a part of this whole human race and human world, you know, and yeah, so that's how that started, and it's been kind of rolling, you know, and yeah.
Amazing. I want to thank you so much on behalf of our audience, on behalf of our consulate, and thank you for being so generous with your time. Yes,
I'm about to see another South African when I get off the phone in a couple of hours. I'm going to a famous South African group. They came here tonight in Oslo, Norway. The group called Dave Matthews Band.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to a Dave Matthews Band concert tonight. So it's funny because you know we decided when we decided to schedule on this day that I was going to the concert. I said another South African. So I'm about to see the South African band, Dave Matthews Band, tonight. That's yeah. Random.
Yeah, so I'm going to liaise with Robert and just put some of his links. Yeah. I'll put some of the links in the. I'm not going to put it in the YouTube comments because then you're going to get all kind of spammers and
right. Yeah.
You're going to get 20 Russian wives trying to contact you. So what I'll do is I'll post a link in our private Facebook groups to all your you know, where people can reach out to you.
No doubt.
On Facebook, that's our people. You know, we're quite selective about who we let into our inner circle, just because of people's safety.
No, that's the truth. No, that's the truth. And
So
you know, because if y'all see me on Facebook, anyways, you can pretty much follow me. You would have to go through some, you know, for the friend request thing. So you can you can follow me, but mainly my YouTube channel. You can check it out. I haven't interviewed. The last person I interviewed was Cynthia, but I'm going to get back into interviewing people and even going live and have discussions and stuff a bit more frequently at some point again. So, but you know, most of my interviews are live. You have some on video that I did, but most of my interviews I'm like you. I do mine live and just yeah.
Authentic, real conversations. That's what people like to have. You know,
absolutely.
All this pre-scripted.
You know what I mean? Yeah, that's how I feel. I keep it low overhead too, man. I don't put so much into editing this and that. I'm like, man, stop it. I'm not into that. There's too much time. You know?
I'm exactly the same.
Yeah. Absolutely, man.
Thank you very much. I'm going to play us out. Please stay on the stream after I stop it. I just want to have a quick off-stream chat with you.
Absolutely. And I appreciate you, Atheist Republic in Cape Town, Atheist Republic South Africa family. I appreciate you guys for coming in and checking me out and checking this channel out. Subscribe to this channel and subscribe to my channel. And let's just keep the ball rolling. Keep doing what y'all do. You know, much love.